All right. Welcome back or welcome to Orange County's very own. I am your host, Makai Louie, and I am joined by the one and only Heather Hopkins. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Makai.
Of course.
I'm so excited.
No doubt. I'm super stoked. Heather's our first female guest, so...
Honored.
Yeah, most definitely. Honored that you're here. No doubt. We're going to be diving into some really cool topics, and... before we kind of jump into that, have a quick intro, few announcements. Bear with me. But first off, just wanted to say thank you guys for sticking with the journey. Everyone that tunes in, replies on Instagram, sends reactions, reposts, shares. It means a lot to me as we're building this out. And just want to say I appreciate you guys because it does help tremendously. And we have a really good thing going and excited for it. So just wanted to say that. And then also something I'm really stoked about as well is we're going to actually get onto all the podcast platforms.
Yes.
So I'm super stoked.
So exciting. That's a big milestone.
It is. I don't know why I didn't do it right away, but hey, you know what?
I think you have to start slow and you put it out there and then you kind of got some feedback. That's what I did. Yeah. And then I put mine on SoundCloud first, and then you hit the big boys.
Yeah.
You're hitting the big boys.
You're right. So, yeah, super stoked about that. It'll be on Apple, Spotify, so you guys, you don't have to be on YouTube to watch it and deal with the whole troubleshooting of watching a video on YouTube. But yeah, there's a lot of content out there that people can listen to and watch. So if you're watching this right now or you're listening to this, just wanted to say thank you. It means a lot to me because of the endless content that is out there. So nonetheless, we're going to jump into this thing. Heather, you are a very inspirational person.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to dig more into your life and the things that you do. Big reason why I have Heather on today is, she's inspired me from an entrepreneurial standpoint, and she lives an uncommon life. She leads an uncommon life, and when I say that, it's not in a weird way by any means. I know it kind of sounds like it is.
No, I definitely live an uncommon life. I don't even know how I ended up the way I did. I'm like,
Well, maybe we'll find out.
Yeah,
maybe we'll find out. But you do a lot of things. You have your hands in a lot. You've been a part of some really, really cool things that I'm excited to share my community with. But yeah, you're our first female guest, first and foremost. And then me and Heather, some background. We went to the same high school.
Yes.
Really weren't like friends by any means.
But we're not friends.
Yeah. There was no.
Wasn't like
No one was shunning nobody.
No.
But funny enough, our best friend is our best friend.
Yeah, we have a mutual best friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're friends.
Now we're friends. But yeah, I've been following your journey for a long time, and actually just recently. Well, I knew this about you, but I learned more as I looked into your LinkedIn and other things. Had to do my research.
Yeah.
But you're an actress.
You didn't know this?
I didn't.
I was acting in high school.
I know, but I looked at the timelines, but
Yeah.
But let's do this. Talk to us about Heather. Talk to us about your journey.
Very general question.
Well, just to start off.
Okay, well, I would say I'm a very colorful human. I've done a lot of things in my life, failed a lot, had a lot of crazy times, I don't know. I just have said yes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Therefore, I look back on life and that's why I know a lot of people, I've just done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you've taken a lot of risks, at least from my opinion.
I've definitely taken a lot of risks.
Yeah.
I've been very, I've kind of just stepped into things. I think I've naturally had when you're a kid and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think that lasted really long in my life. And
gotcha.
So then I ended up just doing a lot of stuff, and I feel like, I just feel like I always was throwing darts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of put me in a lot of different spaces and showed me a lot of different perspectives, and
I can imagine.
That's made me a very colorful human.
Yeah, no, I like that. So to back it up a little bit, so how did you get into acting first and foremost?
Well, so
Because that doesn't just happen.
I know. Well, like, it kind of.
Well, it happens, but I mean, like,
So
I don't meet actresses every day.
I was back when the newspaper was a thing. You know, throwback to that. There was a time where you'd open up the newspaper, and I was that weird child. You know, I went to a Catholic school, like a very small school, so I don't know, like a couple kids in my class.
Okay.
Very much a weirdo.
Heather, a weirdo?
Oh, I was a weirdo. You know, I had my weird times also in high school. They lagged for a bit. Still a weirdo, but whatever.
Nah.
So, anyways, I was reading the newspaper when I was young, like I think I was probably 9, reading the newspaper.
Impressive.
Drinking coffee.
Wow.
Yeah. And in there was an ad for a local theater audition. And I was like,
oh, what?
Yo, Mom, let's do this. Like, what the heck? Why not?
Yeah.
I got nothing else to do.
Okay.
So she took me to that, and then I ended up just like getting this like little role in a local production in La Habra.
Wow.
And next thing you know, I was doing the next play, and I ended up getting the lead in the play. And actually, in that same company, it's some really big. They're actually huge celebrities, whatever you call them, actresses now. In this, it was like this theater, and it was in a little train. And in La Habra, and it was just random people in the community that auditioned, and so now there's probably like 20 of us, and so several of them have become big actors and actresses.
Wow.
But it's this little tiny
in La Habra
thing that I found off the newspaper.
Yeah, that is so crazy. But you took the risk as a 9-year-old.
I took the risk, and
so you had no auditioning, no.
Oh no, nothing. I mean, I was always
singing anything.
Here's what I was always mimicking teachers. I was always like doing acting, but not knowing that it was
kind of
acting.
Making fun of people.
Definitely.
I know. I've definitely.
I was always acting in some way, and then I got into that, and then from there, some people in the theater did background work. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll do that. So I did background. I would be like in the background of iCarly, like being the kid in school.
What?
And then I was I want to be the one talking. So then that was a whole other journey that I would take too long. But that's how I got into TV and film.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. And you've starred in some really big shows.
Yeah. I've been.
I don't know all of them. I know a few off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I saw Criminal Minds, Animal Kingdom. Is it True Bloods or True Blood?
True Blood. That was my first gig.
Was it?
Yeah, True Blood.
Very cool. So are you? I know. Well, you're very involved in your business.
Yeah.
Do you do acting on the side at all? Do you dabble in it at all? Do you get hit up about it?
I get hit up about it.
Do you? Yeah.
So right now my focus is really my company. However, I think as humans, we can have lots of passions and loves, and I never lost acting. I just felt God calling me in a different direction right now.
Gotcha.
But still in me, I still love acting, and I probably will one day,
dabble in it.
I'll dabble in it, yeah. But thankfully, I'm in a career now where it does combine that creativity and that kind of, I don't know, it combines a lot, which is cool.
I could imagine. So speaking of that, I want to talk about your business.
Yeah.
And before we get into your business specifically, I was really curious, only knowing you so much, like what stirred in you to want to go down the entrepreneurial path? Because, I know you went to college.
Yeah.
And
you
didn't do what ordinary people do, like myself, right? Like go and get a 9-to-5 job and do those things, which in my opinion, before we hop into it, like it's extraordinary, because of the risk factor, but then also
I don't know, I personally feel like being an entrepreneur is, you can't even, like, it's just, it happens to you, like that's really the only way that I could say that. It does.
Explain the happening.
Okay, I'll explain the happenings. That probably needs to be covered. So, basically, I always thought I would be an actress. My career was going in a great direction. I had booked, a big lead in a movie. I got the big agent. I was like totally like
dialed in,
doing it.
Yeah.
And then, seriously, God just totally gave me a 360, and I'm like, what? No, this doesn't make sense. I got this road that is what?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense. But it was so clear. He's so clear. He kept putting over me, oh, you gotta do this, gotta do this. I'm like, what? And so that's kind of what made me go that ultimate, like making that decision.
Love it.
But I think I don't remember what the question was.
Well, it was basically like I was curious of how you got to the point. Well, specifically your business. So let's touch on your business, what it is, and then
sure.
How did the roots start with it? Was there a story behind it?
Yeah.
Was it God leading you to it? What was it?
So the reason how it started was I'm acting, and in the downtime of being on set, I started a podcast. Hello.
Hey, plug it. What's it called?
My podcast is called The Hookup.
The Hookup.
The Hookup with Heather Hopkins. It's not what you think it's. It's for clickbait. No,
Very smart.
It's hooking up
Very
with dating
smart.
advice. So it's. I started it. I was obviously I grew up as a child actress. My mom would always drive me to LA, and then finally I was, I had finished
Big
college,
girl.
and I was like,
Big
I'm
girl.
moving to LA. So it's just me in my little studio.
Yeah.
And I was, freshly dating, like, what is this? Boys, oh wow.
No.
And so I started I'd done radio work through acting, so I'd done a lot of voiceover stuff, and so I had this fancy mic, and I was like, what should I do with this? And this was like in 2017 when no one had a podcast. Now it's pretty much more prevalent. But
for sure.
So my friend was over. I was like, hey, sit down. Let's pop a squat. Let's use this mic that I paid for.
Yeah.
let's make some use out of it. So I started a podcast and put it on SoundCloud. And it blew up, and it was the episode about dating that blew up.
What episode was it in?
It was called Boys, Boys, Boys. I had my college roommate on it, and she was boy crazy. So it's me and her going riffing. She's like, and I was kind of more she was boys loco, and I was like, okay, let's calm down now.
Let's center it.
Yeah, so it was kind of this
Very cool.
really, I don't know, it was just this fun conversation around dating. So then I was like, that was so fun. Let's keep doing them.
Yeah.
So I kept talking about, kept doing episodes on dating, and I was on the apps myself, experiencing the LA dating life, and the same thing kept happening.
Pretty new at that time, right?
Meh.
Kind of.
Not really.
2018.
Yeah,
2019. Okay, so it's pretty deep. Pretty deep into it.
So I was having the same thing happen where I'd be on one episode, I'd be like, all right, guys, this guy seems hilarious. Look at our chat,
You were putting him on there?
Oh, no. I'm not. I would tell my listeners,
I see what you're saying.
He seems like he's going to be a hoot. Like, we're just totally bantering. And then next episode, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I met up with him. And within 5 minutes, it was no way.
No go.
And so I was so sick of,
I love it. It's so cool.
I was just like, I made a rule in my show. I said, no more going on dates until you FaceTime with them. I was like, you can blame it on me. You can say, Heather told me we can't go on this date until we FaceTime.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, why isn't there an app that's always a part of the process? It's 97% of the population has smartphones. Why aren't we using them to have a real conversation to figure out if we vibe first?
Yeah.
But every app out there is chat-based,
Totally.
So the behavior is you match with someone, you sit there and chat.
Yeah.
And it's just not actually, it doesn't translate the person.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it was a God thing where, I got so frustrated that this didn't exist. I was like, and it just kept, I would do the thing where I'd chat with the guys and then finally be like, hey, I want a video chat? And sometimes people get weirded out. I'm like, why isn't there a platform where this is just normal? Mm-hmm. And so that's what put me down the rabbit hole of being an entrepreneur.
So I think that's awesome. That's awesome. So those are the roots.
That's the roots.
I really want to pick your brain here. So
let's do it.
So those were the roots. So take us down the path of getting started, because I feel like for a lot of people, including myself, the first action steps are very difficult, actually doing the action, right? You have the thought, very creative.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of dreams out there that just have not been taken action, but you were one of the people that I know personally that have actually done it. So what did you do to kind of jumpstart it and get it going?
Okay, so I never actually thought of this until right now, but I think in life I had taken enough action on certain things and I'd seen it, how much it added to my life, that it gave me the confidence to take, this is the biggest action of my life, This is starting a business is going to be the hardest thing of your life. Hardest thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think even taking micro actions, even if it's something as simple as I'm going to go talk to that person, right? Yeah. And then you talk to that person and this person ends up opening another. There's so many doors that open. And so I think taking those micro, if you're someone who is I'm so nervous to do this one thing, I challenge you to even just take little things and then watch it pay off and be like, yo, if I took that big thing, imagine.
I love that. It's so true, though. It's so true. You know, I think a lot of people, they hold back, you know, a lot of different reasons, right? It's hard to blanket statement it, but
I also think
there's a lot of fear involved.
There is. And I think, I remember a pastor a while ago had done this talk on failure, and he goes, it's crazy because back in the day, he's like, no one saw my worst preaching moments. He's like, because social media didn't exist. But now everything is seen and public, and I think it's definitely made people more afraid to like take a chance on something. But I think if we sort of change the conversation and shift culture to be more accepting towards failure, like I personally, if someone, you know, their idea doesn't work out, I'm like the friend that's like, I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Right.
I don't care that it didn't work out. Like the fact that you did it is so amazing. And like, I think we should be more of a culture that's like proud of failure, kind of, because that means you did something, you know?
Absolutely. And like, well, I feel, again, going back to like the fear thing, you know, I feel like people, and even certain aspects of my life, like I have fear of having that conversation or doing that action that'll get me to that end goal or whatever it might be. But I definitely think it needs to be a culture swing for sure, and how people think. And that's a big part of, you know, our show here at Orange County's very own is like being comfortable being uncomfortable, you know, doing uncomfortable things that will inevitably, like what you're saying, you keep stacking those uncomfortable moments or those uncomfortable things. Like I've said it on my show before, like this isn't necessarily comfortable for me yet, but I know that I do visualization and stuff like that. There will be a time when I can do this so comfortably that it's no longer an uncomfortable thing, and then I can grow from that. Opens up more opportunities and stuff.
Life
like
is in the uncomfort period.
Totally.
And
the beauty of life. Like it's so colorful.
It is. It's so colorful. It's so colorful. But I think about, you know, I remember when I first started my podcast, and remember, like Orange County is more of a
what'd you call it? A box.
A box. It is a box.
Maybe it's a pumpkin.
Whatever. No, it's more of a you don't there's not a lot of outliers.
Yeah.
So when I started my podcast, you know, I know people like said things, well, that's so weird, you know, whatever. And you kind of just have to go through a phase where you just tune it out. You just you just like just tunnel vision, like do your thing. If it is bringing you life, keep down that road. Yeah. And so, it's of course uncomfortable at first, and you're like, you're the weirdo.
And then you kind of feel like one.
And then I thank God that I was like I stood in that uncomfort, because that led me to starting my company. Yeah. And that would have never happened had I just been like, I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
And
pull out.
You know?
Done. Yeah.
You gotta just sit in it. If it brings you life, and even if it's uncomfortable, you gotta just hang there a little longer. Totally.
So let's talk about your business. What is it? What's the name? And I know there's some interest. There's some unique. I don't know yet, but I know you've talked to me about some things. So
sure. So
share with us for sure.
So I am the founder of Hulah. So it's HULAH with an H at the end. So think of it like a hula hoop, like bringing dating full circle. So bringing people back to having real conversations. So the big difference is everything's video based, from the profiles to the actual, you know, always having that video as a part of the process.
Like the messaging, yeah.
So let me explain a little bit more. Not only is it bringing full circle, bringing people back to having a real conversation, but also it's bringing your circle of friends into it. So your profiles, it's not only, you know, pictures of you, but in between that is actually your friends answering questions about you. Wow. So you're able to get sort of this, and I believe that you are a combination of your 5 closest friends. So you're able to get this real, like, full picture of the person. Yeah. And it's just this totally different experience, even on the front end, that you just don't see anywhere else. Yeah. And so your friends are answering. Maybe they're like, one thing you don't know about Makai. Well, Makai likes to he likes to sit in the uncomfortable or whatever that is. He paints pumpkins. Like,
Shout out my sister. I do not paint this.
But it's really, it's this super cool way of seeing unique. A person in a different way. So when you're going through people, you're going to be seeing these video profiles, which we call them loops. So you're going through loops and you decide to, let me like this person. Then they like you back. And once you match, you first schedule a video chat. So we call those a face-to-face. So you schedule face-to-face first. They're 5 minutes or less.
This is either person?
Either person. Okay. And then after you schedule that and you're both, after that's scheduled, then you can chat. So you always know, hey, on Thursday or whatever day, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to have that, real conversation.
Yeah, I like that.
So the chat is not really there to sit and be like, hey. It's there to be like, hey, can't wait to talk to you, show manners or, and
or more interest than just
just like a little something like, I can't wait to talk to you, just a little something. But so it's bringing. I just am a big believer in the fact that when you look at our generation right now, it's like if you look at the way that media is, it's pulling us away from each other. It's making us scroll, sit behind a keyboard, and I believe in bringing using technology, but using it positively and to actually connect. And so that's what we're all about, is always having that real conversation as part of the process.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you had Graze.
Yeah.
So is it?
So Hulah took over Graze.
Okay, so it took over. Okay, very cool. So what was the decision behind that? What was kind of the reasoning? So
I've had some, I started the company so organic. I told you guys the story. It was so not. I did it. It was kind of just for myself. Yeah. And
selfishly, but in a very good way.
It kind of was. I was like, oh, this will help. My listeners, they'll like it too. Yeah. And so it started really organic. I was the one designing all the products. I was the one.
Wow.
And so from that, it's grown, and I've had some amazing brains get behind it, and I've been able to raise some money. And so with that, we basically made the executive decision to let's put the Heather scrappy days behind us, and let's this is something, this is legit. We have people dating from this. This is not a. This is
you're changing people's lives. I mean, it's really awesome.
So I think it went from being more of kind of my little little fun craft to it's a real company, and we're so excited. All the light that it's bringing, and so we just felt like we needed to turn the page and put Hulah, the new name and the new brand, and so
Very exciting. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No
it's
doubt.
Very exciting.
And going back, you said something about being a light. Because I follow entrepreneurs. I honestly can't sit here and tell them that I would never say myself that I'm an entrepreneur because I don't own a business yet. But at the same time, I follow a lot of people, and some of them, depending on their platforms, right, they'll be very motivational, inspirational, and things like that. But you seem to bring a light to your platform amidst all the things that you do. So I'm kind of curious, because I know that doesn't just stem from being busy all the time. Yeah. And working hard, just head down working hard. There's got to be something more to it. So I'm curious, what do you do personally, from a habit standpoint, behaviors that serve you, that allow you to do all the things that you do at a very high level?
Okay, so with social media, I don't.
It could be social media or just your life in general. Oh,
there's a lot of habits, micro habits that I do. I would say on the topic of entrepreneurs on social media and what you show and stuff like that, I think I feel like there is a box of how people think about entrepreneurs, and even women in business, whatever that is. You have to look a certain way, you have to act a certain way, and right. I kind of feel like I don't relate to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really goofy. I'm weird. I like to have fun. I love my friends. I love my family, and I feel like sometimes with the way that people view that you have to be as a businesswoman. You have to be more like, oh.
Right.
And so
Stern
I
or
personally,
whatever.
I've just accepted, and even like with my investors, I've been like, this is me. Like, I am a person that I love to laugh, and I love to do this, and I still am a professional and a boss. Like,
Totally.
I don't think you have to be this like person to do things on a high level.
Right.
And so that's why I think I've had trouble, not trouble, but I think it's been kind of hard for me to, like, I've just been like, this is me.
Yeah. Well, you're very open, like, from my perspective, right?
I am very open, which to some people that are old school are like, oh, that's a down, that's unprofessional. But I'm like, what is professional? Like, why does professional have to be like, I'm all this,
absolutely not. But it's like your brand in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I've seen, at least from what I've seen, like, you're very open. You have live chats. You open up, like, not forums, but like you open question, like you open your community to respond to you, to get that feedback.
I love that though, and I want to stay that way.
I think it's amazing.
I want to stay that way.
You should. I mean, I'm in there answering questions.
Yeah, that's how I am though, and I want to stay that way forever. I don't really care what people say.
Set the tone. Set the tone.
I'm all about like the entrepreneur. Like even in my company, I'm like, you're the thermostat, set it.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, don't like, do what you want.
Heather's got me fired up right now. Let's go.
I forget what we were talking about. Habits.
Yeah, just habits, like things that you do to keep, because like,
things.
I could only imagine the things that go on in your head,
There's a million
coordinating,
things.
scheduling.
I will tell you right now, my calendar is my life.
Like phone calendar?
Yes.
Or do you write it? Okay.
No, my phone calendar. I actually find it really freeing. I'm like, because I can just, whatever is going on, like even if it's like a little thing like grocery shopping. Oh, yeah,
totally.
Throw it in there and then I don't have to think about it. Like it just tells, grocery shopping? Okay, here I go.
Do you do the, because I live in my calendar all day, every day. I put the 2 hours before and then the 30 minutes.
I got it's like
it's
boom. So
awesome.
I'm huge on that because I think it's so easy I have a million things that I'm always thinking and working on, and my brain moves really quickly.
Yeah. So
being able to like not have to think, I'm supposed to meet up with this, but, like having it I get to at least just unload that on there. That's great. So that's a big thing.
Huge for organization.
Huge for me.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say I do is every night I am very big. I read my Bible.
There you go.
And I write down a to-do list for the next day. So obviously there's my calendar, but then it's like little things, like obviously there's the macro things that I have to do, and then the micro things. So like doing the laundry, putting away the dishes, like those things where I'm checking all day.
Hell yeah. Do you put on your phone typically?
I don't put on my phone. Actually, that one's on a notepad.
Is it? Okay.
Because it's kind of like I have my Bible and then I have my notepad where I'm like jotting things down.
Gotcha. So and then you check them off.
Yeah, and I try to put my phone down when I'm doing that process, just so I can be present and I also have to do a lot of listening with God. Like I would say my entire business, and this is something I'm very proud of, so I love to share this.
Please.
Is my entire business is very, very God-driven. I
love it.
I think there's been things in my life where I didn't bring God into it, but I can say with every step, even like the smallest decision, I pray about it. Everything is so.
That's huge.
So. I got my stamp of peace. I've been so big about following that every step of the way.
That's beautiful.
And so that's another thing that's really important for me is like really listening to God. What are you trying to show me right now? What are you trying to say?
Yeah. And it's very hard for all of us to do so.
Yeah, I think it's easier the more that I really get into the Word, the stronger that is to me, and the more also that. Like, I think even, like, when we talked about, stepping into those uncomfortable moments and, like, in life doing, like, little things and watching it pay off, I think same with peace, watching you listen to God, like, actually listen to Him and then see how it goes and bring His peace into it and see how it goes. And the more you know what that is, the more you're really in tune with what that feels like.
Totally.
So you're able to do that more.
Very cool. That's something that definitely... I resonate with you a lot on those things, like especially my micro habits, the decisions I make in my life, things that are going on in general. similar to you, like there was a point in time in my life where I would pick and choose, right? And I think a lot of us could resonate with that. And typically it'd be when life's kind of on a decline.
Yeah, totally.
Which is okay. You know, we all have our different journeys and stuff like that. But I invite that peace as much as possible.
It's just the best.
It really is. And it just gives us such clarity. And even if it's not like it doesn't, I've also let go of expectations. It's been a huge thing for me to really let go of those things. And let life flow, as it should. Yeah.
And once you experience God's peace, like I just actually I was praying on Sunday, and I was actually writing this prayer weirdly. I felt it. I was like, I need to write this down. And it was, I don't want to do anything without that.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I love it. Respect it big time. You have a busy life. You have your business. What do you like to do for fun outside of being an entrepreneur? Because I'm sure it takes up a large percentage of your life. But there's got to be stuff that you like to do.
It does. It does. And the beauty is, which I try to embrace, is the fact that I do have some flexibility.
Okay.
So I love to work out. I love to go running. I go roller skating. That's my new quarantine thing. I got roller skates, and I go to the beach. I'll go skate around. It's so fun.
That's super cool.
I love to go hiking.
So pretty active stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's been what's cool. So I just moved back to Orange County, for everyone listening. I've lived in LA for 8 years. So.
Orange County's very own. Come on.
Orange County.
It always brings you back somehow.
It always brings you back.
It really does.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, because in LA, it's so, COVID was gnarly there.
Yeah. We talked about this off
pod. But it was not as active of a lifestyle because there's homeless people everywhere. It's kind of dirty, smelly. Yeah. And here it's so nice because I just get to go running, go roller skating. It's just been super cool just being able to be just super active and
Yeah, that's good. So do you travel? Obviously with the pandemic and whatnot, but prior to it, did you travel and stuff like that? Is that big for you?
No, not really. I just pretty much have worked the past years. But I am traveling, and I already have anxiety about leaving.
Yeah.
So that's something I gotta work on.
Yeah. When's the last time you traveled? Been a minute.
I don't know.
It had to have been.
Traveled not for work.
Yeah. Like just pleasure traveling?
I just thought of something. I was working the whole time, but I had points, and so I went to Aspen, and I worked out of the mountains were all in my view, and I'm like, this is so nice. Really cool. And I was taking all my calls and stuff. This is great. And that's so I did have friends come down and visit over the weekend while I was there. Nice. So that was a little vacation, I guess.
That's good. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm going to the Caribbean soon.
Oh, wow. Wait, Caribbean, where?
So, I don't even know where I'm going. It is kind of a work trip. It's for dating expertise and stuff.
Dating expertise,
Yeah, it's influencer stuff for that. But I will be working. I already have cleared. I was like, all right, there's got to be Wi-Fi. I got to be able to work several hours during the day. Yeah. But that is a crazy thing that I'm actually going to be stepping away and not, being somewhere else. I'm already freaking out about it. I'm already oh my God, how am I going to leave? But it's going to happen. It's going to be fine.
It'll be good. Yep. It'll be good. It'll be a good experience, especially if you don't travel a lot. I personally, I have never traveled a ton. I haven't gone to a bunch of places, haven't done the whole Europe thing. But whenever I do go somewhere, I don't know. There's a piece. There's a little bit of anxiety in the beginning, right? It's just
I have straight anxiety. I feel it in me right now. I'm but I talk to other entrepreneurs, and they're like, Heather, it's all gonna be okay. If you leave for 2 hours, it's fine. Yeah. Nothing. The world's not gonna end. Where I'm no, how am I gonna?
I have to be connected.
Yeah. It's just. But it's
it'll be
part
good.
Of it. It'll be good for me.
So, oh goodness, I was gonna ask something.
Traveling. You said you haven't traveled.
I haven't traveled. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to ask you about how you navigated through COVID with working. Because it's different from...
Question?
Yeah, no, for real. Mainly because just, businesses in general, like there was a lot of...
How my business navigated through COVID.
Yes.
Okay,
We can talk about both.
I was like,
we can talk about both because I struggled massively through it on a lot of aspects. But and I've talked about on this show too, but from a business aspect, because a lot of people pulled out. A lot of people had fear of just I don't know, whatever it might have been, but you were working.
Yeah, I think I have an interesting take on this.
Yeah.
So obviously we're a video platform.
Mm-hmm.
So some could say we're pretty much made for COVID, even though we aren't.
Yeah,
but people literally thought
this is why I want to ask.
People thought I whipped up Hulah. Like people thought I just was like.
You're like COVID happened.
COVID. We need a video app. Here you go.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Guys, I've been working on this for years.
Yeah.
Like it takes years to make an app, but. So we actually happened to launch 2 days before the lockdown happened. So it was all like crazy timing. You could say God's timing, or you could say God's testing. Because what happened was, being a video platform, that was kind of our thing. We're a video platform.
Right.
So
already virtual.
It was a combo of obviously in the beginning, everyone's coming to us. Like everyone's like, we have people from all across the country downloading us. But then at the same time, every part of the world had to adapt and add in video. Other platforms obviously added in the option for people to video chat.
True.
So that was also another thing is like, we are. We're like, our whole thing, we thought, obviously I always knew that I was not stupid enough to be like, no one's ever going to put in video.
Right.
I always knew that was going to happen. I'm like, I don't know why they haven't already.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go. We'll pioneer it.
Yeah.
So we put in, we were obviously focused on video. Others are adding in video.
Yeah.
And so that was like totally, as a first time founder, that was kind of scary. It was like, oh my gosh, here I am. I give everything to this, and now COVID happens, and all these companies are all doing it now. What do I do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's so
it was
interesting.
Really,
were they moving pretty quickly, like on it?
Oh yeah.
Like
everyone
days,
moved.
like days.
Oh yeah. And then of course, the anxiety of like every shareholder and investor is like sending me stuff like, look, they have it. Why aren't you? I'm like, we're still we're like a brand new company. We came out like a couple days ago. I can't. Yeah. You can only spread the word so fast. Like no one knows who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's kind of like it was really hard, but I also know the power of what we're building, and for me, it's not just a video app. We're bringing people back to having a real conversation again,
which is so massive.
And we're bringing people back to like actually seeing the smiles on each other's faces. Like this is not just, it's not like a feature to us.
Right.
This is a cultural shift that we're pioneering.
Yeah.
So I always saw that. However, I remember that there was this advice from, her name is Jamie Lima. She's a founder. She's a female founder. And she was like, she came out with a CC cream. I don't know if you're familiar.
A what?
You don't, guys don't know what that is.
I don't know what
it's
that
a
is.
Makeup. And so when she was developing her product, all of a sudden all these other companies started, coming out with the same thing. But she was always like, she's like, no, I am creating a brand that makes the non-model, just the regular looking woman feel beautiful. And other makeup places around at that time were just the runway models. They're putting all the makeup on that. And she's like, I want to make a brand for the everyday woman. Yeah. And she was like, I could have in that moment been like, oh my gosh, I need to, like, they're doing what I'm doing, like, totally just gotten distracted and tried to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah. But that would have distracted me from building my own secret sauce. And so my thing is,
that's
things there's always going to be competitors coming in, but no one's going to build it like me. Yeah. And no one has the secret sauce that our team has and the light that we have. Like no one else has that. Yeah. So we double down on that and we let the noise go.
Yeah. I love it. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's really cool. So one of my last few questions here, being an entrepreneur and all the things that you do, well, more specific to being an entrepreneur, being the boss lady, like what is the most challenging aspect to it for you? If you could dial it down, because I'm sure there's multiple aspects that you could probably look into, but and it could be, let's do from like a business standpoint
Yeah,
and
I
then
was
your
gonna say,
personal life. So like from a business standpoint, like what's the most challenging side of being the CEO, and then also, for your personal life?
Yeah. I think probably the
'Cause you're
most
still very
challenging.
young. We're very
I
young.
would say that's the hardest part is being young
Is it?
and the first time.
Yeah.
It's like I think my future companies, I will be a much smarter person, but like. Everything is new. So while I'm making major decisions, I'm also learning at the same time. I'm learning. And also I think one of the hardest, the biggest challenges for me was that I didn't get to work under, like I started my company when I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't work under anyone. I didn't even know what a boss, like what a manager did. Yeah. I was like, what is this? I feel like I've had to do a lot of, I use everything I can. I try to, while I'm not rich in experience, there's an endless world of people that I can reach out to that I can call on and be like, what would you do this? Like I lean on a lot of, mentors, advisors. That's where you get crafty with it, but that's really challenging because there's moments where I'm just going through things and I'm like, I have no clue what to do.
Yeah.
And can feel, especially being young, very lonely because no one else my age really not a lot of people can relate to the things that I'll deal with, and so that is really hard for me business wise.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense, and it kind of going back to you leading an uncommon life, and why I respect you so much for doing that, because I do a lot of research on entrepreneurs. I have an aspiration to at some point in my life. I'm waiting for God's time, and for sure.
He'll put it on you.
Building my skills, for sure. Being very patient with it. But at the same time, people our age for sure, and I think a lot more in society and where our world is right now, which is a very, very unique state, probably that any human being has seen in general. People are not taking those risks or putting themselves in those positions to go through the challenges of being an entrepreneur or doing things on their own, which you've done.
Yeah.
And that's really, again.
What's the easy way? People like instant gratification.
The instant gratification.
I will tell, there is nothing instant gratification about being an entrepreneur. If you
Real
think
facts.
if you think it's going to be like, oh my gosh, you are so wrong.
Yeah.
If I could just show you some little glimpses of moments that I have, you would be like, maybe I don't want to do that.
Well, talk to us about that piece, like the ins and outs of like your day, and not you don't have to dissect it to us, but like in regards to just things that you have to handle and have to deal with, because I think a lot of people, right, because of what's on social media with the entrepreneur space, 100%. The Lambos, the money, the watches, all the, just like the picture, right? What you were saying, the stigma that's around entrepreneur, which, people that understand it or are living it, no, it's not actually that. It really comes down to the grit, the fortitude, the resiliency that you have in your daily habits. So talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, So starting my company, I obviously, you don't make money when you're starting. I mean, you don't make a salary. You have nothing. Mm-hmm. It's just an idea that you're your own team. That's it. So you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
I was working, I'm not kidding, every day from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day. My eyes were bloodshot. I was I don't know how I function. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was working. I worked as a receptionist. I started at 6 a.m. But I wanted to do that job because I could work it out. All I had to do was answer the phone. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I had to do little stuff on the computer. But I had a computer in front of me so I could work on my company while being paid. So I was like, yes, let's do the job.
So resourceful.
So I just you get crafty. But the last job at the end of the night, I would then do my restaurant job. So it would be just day in, day out. And so this is why my frustrations with dating apps existed, because I would have one night off and I'd be like, yay,
oh, no.
I'm gonna hang out with this great guy, and then it would just be a flop. And I'm like, I have one night. What a waste of my time. So that's kind of how it all. So everything shapes you, but there is so much of starting my business, and for so long I was not being paid anything.
Yeah.
I went through my entire savings. There was a point where I couldn't do any of the jobs that I was using to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So, and I had investors at that point, and they were like, I had to make it to meetings, and I'd be like, oh no, sorry, I have a receptionist job. They're like, doesn't cut it anymore. Figure it out, girl.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, well, I can't be
Like,
paid yet. So what am I gonna do? They're like, figure it out.
Dang.
So, I went through my whole savings, and thankfully God, I cannot imagine being an entrepreneur without faith. So that's just preface that. I had a lot of miracles happen. One of my miracles was actually I got a phone call when I was seriously, you guys, I was like, my bank account was going to be a zero very shortly.
It's not a good feeling.
And I told my investors, I said, I got to go back to work. I cannot, I can't
kind of
live.
Zero options.
Yeah. I either somehow we get funding in time for me to get paid, or
which is a shot in the dark, right? From a funding aspect.
Exactly. And everything was going to our engineering. So what am I, there's nothing for me.
Right.
And so I was either that, or it was either I go back to work and they lose, me being able to do all this stuff, and that's it. Or a miracle, that is what happened.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a phone. I prayed to God for a certain number. I go, okay, I need this many months of money.
Yeah.
And by that point, I feel very confident that we would get funding. You guys, God freaking exactly that number.
No, you didn't.
I get a phone call from an agent from when I was younger. Okay, I'm not even with this agent anymore. I haven't talked to them in probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
They go, hey, we're calling because we just got a check. I guess it got lost in the mail, but it's for a pretty large amount. I'm like, for what? They're like, oh, it's a commercial you did 3 years ago. I'm like, what?
No shot.
It was a large enough check to take me through till I got funding.
Oh, praise God. That's
I mean,
that
it was like God is just like Heather, and I mean, I have so many stories like that where you're just like, there's no other answer. It's only God.
Oh, he has purpose for you, Heather. Big time.
He just provides always. And so I feel like the more you know that, and the more you watch, you're able to see things in hindsight. It's the more you just trust. If you listen, you have God's peace or something, just trust, hang on.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story.
It's hard to not hang on because, it's hard to hang on because there's also the moments that you're
we're human.
On the floor crying. You're like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I could just give up and, get a regular job.
Yeah. That's the easy way out. I think, at least from the outside, he's purposed you for a lot more.
I know. As long as I have his peace, I'm going to keep stepping in whatever he's got for me. I'm like, whatever, God, let's go.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. Man, well, I'm feeling very inspired personally. And it's good to learn more about you because, again, we really don't know each other all that well.
We hated each other in high school.
Yeah,
he bullied me.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No. Everyone that knows me, I was not a bully.
No, he was not a bully.
I might have asked for your food a lot, but other than that,
I don't recall any asking for my food.
I don't think I asked you for your food.
I don't even remember a conversation we
Neither
had.
do I. No.
But that's okay. We're friends now.
Yeah.
Say it. That's great.
No doubt. Well, Heather, it was an honor to have you on here. We'll have to do this again. For sure, and
everyone get on Hulah.
Yeah, everyone go check it out, man. And
have Makai answer a question about you on your profile. Send him your link.
There you go. Yeah, I'll put it in my link tree.
He'll do a cameo on your loop.
There you go. But yeah, go follow her. What's your Instagram? Plug your socials.
Mine is at it's Heather Hopkins. And then Hulah's is at Join Hulah and HULAH.
HULAH Hulah. Yeah, go check it out, everybody. And thank you. And wishing you a lot of success with Hulah and everything else you have going on.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, thank you again, like I said, just for supporting the movement and everything that we got going on here at Orange County's very own. And other than that, keep getting after it, guys. We'll talk soon.